On this episode of the Carolina Sports Guy, we're going to kind of do a little something different here. We're going to talk about the possibility, relocation or expansion to Carolinas. Is there ever a chance we'll get Major League Baseball? Okay, YouTube friends and family, today's content we're going to be talking about Major League Baseball. Even though we don't have a team in Charlotte or Raleigh, Triad for that matter, there's the one thing that's kind of, we just don't have professionally. Even NASCAR, we have Major League Soccer now. We've got the NFL, we've got the NBA, we got the NHL. We've got it all. The NFL, we've got everything. And major college sports. The one thing we do not have is Major League Baseball. Perfect place for Major League Baseball. So I thought I'd look at this. And I'm probably going to do more than one video on this because it's something I follow on a, if not a daily basis, at least a weekly basis. Now, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. Doesn't cost anything. You get more great content like today's videos. Normally concentrating talking about the Panthers, the Hurricanes, and the Hornets. Sprinkling in a little bit of college sports in the Carolinas. Hit that bell notification. That way you can be notified of more content like today's video. And also pound that thumbs up button, the like button. Let me know you like this video so I put out more content. And leave me some comments. Let me know what you didn't like about the video. Let me know what you'd like to hear or that you did like to hear in this video. And we'll go from there. Alright, Uncle Chucky here, Carolina Sports Guys, folks. Really one thing I want to talk about in this whole realm of Major League Baseball in the Carolinas is why not. I remember shortly after, the Hornets were such a success, when they came in the NBA, I remember reading a magazine in the mid to late 80s. Charlotte Hornets were born in 88, but back in 86, 87, I was reading a magazine that said, the only franchise Charlotte, North Carolina ever get is the one Golden Arches. It's a big joke. And even though George Shinn was a tight, terrible owner, he did have the mindset to bring NBA into the area. He got the fans thirsty for it. The rest of the country saw having 20-some thousand people at an NBA game and led the league in attendance for many years. And, and then the NFL comes with Jerry Richardson and brought the region together, Carolina, which I think is great. And Charlotte being only a few miles from South Carolina and sitting on the border and bringing both teams together, both states together, and a one-team concept. I think that's awesome as well. Because with the Hurricanes in Raleigh, hop, skip, and a jump, a couple hours away from Charlotte, close to the center of Carolina, but it's still Carolina, and having minor league affiliation in South Carolina, I think it helps. And of course, Major League Soccer now being in Charlotte, Raleigh almost had an opportunity to team and things of that nature. But Major League Baseball. First of all, we're going to look at where we'd put it. If Major League Baseball was going to come to the Carolinas, where would they go? Charlotte, Raleigh, Triad? Years ago, the Minnesota Twins, their owner, I think it was Carl Pohlad or whatever his name was looking at relocating his Minnesota Twins. And if the sales tax would have passed in the Greensboro, Winston-Salem area, I believe it was Kernersville, they were going to put that stadium in the middle of nowhere. And I know people, middle of nowhere, why you want to do it? You wouldn't think it's a good idea, but you would have had people from Charlotte. People from Charlotte drive to Atlanta to see the Braves. I know people here in eastern North Carolina that drive up to see the Baltimore Orioles or the Washington Nationals. So, Washington kind of controls the Raleigh market. Atlanta kind of controls the Charlotte market, Western North Carolina. But that triad was right in the middle between Charlotte and Raleigh. If we had a team in the triad area, Greensboro and Winston-Salem, people from Charlotte, hour away, would have probably taken in a weekend series or drove up for a game, a doubleheader, whatever. People from Raleigh would have driven an hour west, hour and a half west, and seen Major League Baseball. People in South Carolina would have been a few hour trek. They'd have done it. So I think it would have been a perfect, ideal spot. Excuse me. And needless to say, I don't think Major League Baseball will put a team in the triad. If they're going to, it's going to either be in Raleigh or Charlotte. Now, Raleigh. What's the advantages of putting a team in Raleigh instead of Charlotte? Well, you only have the Hurricanes. You don't have to compete with soccer, football, or basketball. Just one sport. And the hockey season, when it ends, baseball's kind of playing, but really once you get into the meat of the season, hockey's over. And then when baseball ends is when hockey's getting ready to start again. So it wouldn't be a lot of conflict for season ticket holders. A lot of money in the Raleigh-Durham area. I think the biggest thing is the population in Charlotte's so much more. The land, though, land-wise, if you were going to put a stadium, not to say that the Raleigh-Durham area would not want to spend millions and billions of dollars for the location and put a team, but there's more available land around Raleigh where they could place a franchise, where Charlotte's kind of congested and it's kind of hard to get one in uptown Charlotte. Maybe if the Panthers did build a dome stadium or moved and they took old Bank of America Stadium when it's old or gotten rid of it, they could build it there. But where they play AAA baseball right now, and Charlotte, it's a shame, it's a beautiful location, but it only holds about 10 to 11,000 people. And I think, you think, well, okay, let's expand that stadium, at least get 30, 35,000, you have Major League Baseball. Problem is you're doubling up, when I say doubling up, you're making 3 times the size or 2 sizes bigger than what it already is, and you have to build it up. And I just don't think when you build up, you have to build out. And there's not, you'd be right in the middle of roads, changing all kinds of, you have to buy up a lot of property, the expense. So it's a shame, because if they would have done it right, they could have built up that stadium where the Charlotte Knights play AAA baseball. But the market's there between Charlotte and Raleigh. Really, Charlotte with the negative, like I said, 3 franchises already. Raleigh 1, Vantage Raleigh. Population-wise, though, money, Charlotte might have the edge on Raleigh. Definitely with that market, the TV market as well. Second location, like I said, if you can have that in uptown Charlotte and find a place, beautiful, perfect. I think Major League Baseball would love it. Land's going to be hard to come by in Charlotte. Raleigh might have that location. They don't want to spend that kind of money. The third thing you need to have, and I don't think Charlotte or Raleigh have it, is having a potential owner. This is where cities like Nashville have a jump. If somebody would come forward, you could get that land space in Charlotte or Raleigh, particularly Charlotte. Definitely have the market's there. That's not going to change. I think Major League Baseball realizes that. To get the stadium situation resolved, you just need a deep-pocketed owner. David Tepper, I know, owns the Panthers and the soccer team. I don't necessarily think he's interested in baseball. But if the right people come along, he's got enough money, you never know, but I know it would cost some money to land one. So let's kind of look at this. Is it going to be relocation or expansion? Either one. Well, first of all, if anybody's going to relocate, it's going to be one of 2 teams. The Oakland A's. They're looking into it right now. Oakland, all they have left is the A's. It's kind of funny to think back in the late 60s, if you talk about the late 60s to early 70s, Oakland had NASL Pro Soccer in Oakland. And I know that league never made it, but it was the big leagues at the time. They had, of course, the Oakland A's when they moved from Kansas City in the late 60s, mid-60s. And the Oakland Raiders, who was founded in 1960 in the old AFL, joined the NFL in 69. You had the Golden State Warriors, are now in San Francisco. They were originally in Oakland. Went from San Francisco to Oakland, now back to San Fran. Won a championship in 76 in Oakland. And, of course, again, most recently with Steph Curry and those guys. And even hockey. Hockey had 6 teams when 1967 expansion, when they doubled up. One of the 6 teams in expansion was the Oakland Seals. They didn't last but a couple of years or so, and they ended up, moving out of Oakland. I believe they went to Cleveland. They didn't make it there either. But Oakland's had everything. Now, the one thing that could resolve it, could Oakland move to San Jose? San Jose's got the population and the market to do it. I don't think San Francisco will let that happen, because San Francisco's claimed the San Jose market. So if Oakland doesn't stay in that dump, that terrible stadium, it'd be nice if they could. Oakland deserves a professional sports franchise. If they don't, they're going to 1 or 2 places probably. Number one, Portland's got the money aside. They got a potential ownership group. Russell Wilson's part of that. It doesn't have the glitter and glam of other cities, though. I don't know if Major League Baseball's ready. They did finish second, I think, in the sweepstakes for the when the Expos moved from Montreal to Washington. But there's somebody to keep an eye on. It's Portland, the Diamond Project. The one that's catching a lot of attention if Oakland moves is Vegas, and that's where I put my money. Vegas went from not having a team. NHL comes along a few years ago, they get the Golden Knights. Now they got the WNBA in Vegas now. They're getting ready to, the Raiders move to Vegas. I believe in Major League Soccer, they got 29 teams. Sacramento pulls out, whether they go to San Diego or Detroit. I think the next two teams in line, if anybody gets them, is going to be Phoenix and Vegas getting Major League Soccer. NBA's talking about expanding. Definitely going to Seattle probably. The other city is either going to be probably Vegas or Kansas City. I say it's going to be Vegas. So everybody's looking at Vegas. The one sport I don't think would thrive there as much as Major League Baseball. But if everybody wants to be there, don't think Major League Baseball wouldn't like to be there. They would. So Vegas is really pushing and could end up with these Oakland A's. Now, a wild card in this couple places. Number one, Vancouver. I know it's Canada. I know it's not far from Seattle. But Major League Baseball, a small part of it, would like to be back in Canada. It kind of keeps Oakland on the West Coast. Something to keep an eye out on. I don't really see it. I haven't heard much talk other than just the location. Next is Austin/San Antonio, either market. Baseball would go over well in Texas. San Antonio's got a wide population base. Austin's really growing. They finally got Major League Soccer. Of course, San Antonio only has NBA with Spurs. Does Texas need a third baseball team? Well, California's got 5 baseball teams right now. Somebody to keep an eye on. I don't know if expansion-wise will work for them, but if Oakland couldn't get into Vegas, if Portland falls through, San Antonio, Austin would kind of keep them. You can still keep them in the West in the American League. They could still do that. All right. Then we're looking at other cities. I know some cities like Nashville have been mentioned. I don't think they're going to be with Oakland East unless everything else falls through. So, who else could move? Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay wants out of their lease, and they're talking about splitting half the season with Montreal. That's not going to work. Tampa Bay, if they don't stay in Tampa, my logical situation, if they can't find a place in Tampa, St. Pete, is to move to Orlando. You still keep a lot of your fan base. You're just changing the Tampa Bay Rays to the Orlando Rays or the Florida Rays. You hadn't have to, change the colors, the nickname. Just put a big O instead of a TB or put an F. And Orlando's got that market, and it's a tourist area, and it would work. Now, I know they might want an expansion team. It's just something to keep an eye on. Montreal's somebody to keep an eye on. They were really trying to get a team for a half a season with Tampa, and I don't know. Montreal had the Expos a long time. Things fell through. They'd have to have a baseball stadium. But I really definitely think you got to keep your eye on Montreal, whether it be expansion or Tampa Bay. Nashville. If Tampa Bay was going to move today and they'll stay in the state of Florida, and Montreal can't get their act together, Nashville's the most logical place. Stays on the east. It's an up-and-coming city. I mean, they've got everything but Major League Baseball, and they don't have the NBA, but NBA's right down the road in Memphis in Tennessee. So that's something to keep your eye on there. They've got everything under the sun. They've got an ownership group in place, which is what the Carolinas don't have. They've got a nickname called them the Stars, named after one of the Negro League teams that was from Nashville. I don't know about the location, and that's going to be key trying to come up with money, because Nashville's already bickering with the soccer facility, putting it in fairgrounds, and I don't know how well that's gone over. But, if the land can come up, and the money, and the taxpayers, the market's definitely there. It's stretching a little bit, though, with all the sports they have. But yet, at the same time, they've got an ownership group in place, and that's something to say. Mexico City, Monterrey. Please no. I'm not knocking. I know Mexico City is the largest city probably in the world, in North America definitely. The elevation's so high, it's a lot of travel. And I'm not putting Mexico down, but the difference in living in Mexico and living in Canada, you go to Toronto, it's almost a suburb of Detroit. You're not far from Buffalo. Going to Vancouver, it's just like Seattle North. Hockey's a little different story. It's where the franchise started. Even Montreal's a barrier because of speaking the French, not Canadian. I mean, not English, sorry. I just hope it's not Mexico. Not to put them down. It's just, I don't think it would be very appealing for players who want to be there. And then we get to Carolinas, Charlotte. I think if we were like Nashville and had an ownership group in place, that would be a big if. If that AAA baseball stadium was expandable to 30-some thousand, or was a 30,000 seat stadium, I don't think it's a matter of if the Rays would move here to win, or if they would move anyway. So that's what we have to look for with expansion. I mean, with relocation. So we have to look at expansion. Looks like Oakland's going to go, in my opinion, and I'm saying Vegas if they don't stay in Oakland. And I'm thinking somehow Tampa Bay. I got a feeling if they don't stay in Tampa or St. Pete, a small chance can be Orlando. Something's pulling me stronger that they'll be in Montreal, but don't rule out Nashville. So expansion-wise, I see one in the West would be Portland, especially if Oakland goes to Vegas. I think Portland's the most logical candidate. And then that's going to lead, depending if Tampa goes to Orlando, or let's just say they take off and leave Florida, they go to Montreal. Does Orlando get the expansion team to put a second franchise in Florida? Does Nashville, having this big run in the lead with an ownership group, get baseball? Or can Charlotte pull the funds together for the stadium, get an ownership group? I think the market's stronger than Nashville. I'll say that, in my opinion. It's a stronger market, more people. Land-wise is an issue, and I think the money-wise for that is, but I think Nashville faces the same thing. I think Nashville's just got this edge in the ownership group. So anyway, folks, what do you think of today's content? If you'd like to see more videos, we'll kind of do a little bit more. Uncle Chucky, the Carolina sports guy, we'll do this, talking about relocation or expansion, Major League Baseball in the Carolinas. Subscribe if you're not a subscription yet. Doesn't cost anything. Hit that like button. Hit that bell notification to be reminded of more content like this in today's video. Leave me some comments. I will see you on another episode of Carolina Sports Guy.